Kennedy, you are the go-to person to communicate for this event. I've been asking you all my questions, so I'm going to ask you a few more if you don't mind.
Of course. Ask away.
Show me around here, and let's start with the paintings on our right. So
Of course.
What are those?
So these are paintings done by students at Sonora High School, so French students, and they've just made all of these different French artworks. You can see a Monet like kind of imitation here, a little bit of Vincent van Gogh. So it's all super fancy. Right here we have Nikita doing caricatures, which is very, very exciting.
What do we have on this side over here?
So these are famous French landmarks. So mostly across Paris. Actually, all across Paris. So this is Notre Dame, le Métro, le Fondant Stravinsky, these are artwork from Niki de Saint-Phal, which is a French-American artist. Very cool fountain. This is l'Obélisque de l'Excœur, which is at the end of the Champs-Élysées in Paris. And then le Moulin Rouge.
Wow.
Yeah, it's super fancy. And if we walk this way, this is also made by the Sonora High School students, and it is the Eiffel Tower, of course, as you can see. And in actuality, it lights up, but it's not currently lit.
Right.
Super fancy, though.
And what do we have behind the Eiffel Tower right here?
Food. So much food. All the food. It changes every night, so we're just going to get lots of different food restaurants from Fullerton and the surrounding area, a lot of which are based in French culture or are from French people. And yeah, coming for the food is a great option.
And let's check out the last, but definitely not the least spot over there.
Yeah. So this is going to be where our volunteers are performing.
Okay.
So we have a lot of different French students from the French club, from the French classes, who are actually going to be singing and performing French music or French themed songs. So those are our things for tonight. Antonio is a opera singer with accordions from Christina, and Aaron is one of our volunteer singers. So we have quite a few singers who are just singing as a group. We're in the group called Les Alouettes, and Les Alouettes are going to sing tons of different songs all throughout the French Film Festival. The movies are going to be in there. They're going to do a short presentation to kind of introduce the movie, and then you can go in and watch all of the different French cultural things in the movies, which is super fancy. They're great this year.
I just want to ask you a super quick question. What are some of the COVID precautions you have taken here to ensure the safety of everyone who's attending?
Yeah, so outside, there's not a mask mandate to be outside, but once you enter the theater, you will be required to wear a mask. All people in attendance will need to check in, get wristbands. Tonight, the wristbands are pink. So at tomorrow's event, they will be a different color. It's just going to change every single night. So you will need to either have a COVID test and show that to our wonderful volunteers at those tables, or you will need proof of vaccination in order to enter and participate in the event, including getting food and going into the theater.
Awesome, thank you so much. Any last things you want to add?
No, come join us at the film festival. It's an amazing event. If you can't join us this year, it's an annual one, so you can come back next year and just see it again.
Thank you so much, Kennedy.
No problem, thank you so much.
So my name is Reinhardt. I teach French at Fullerton College. I've been at Fullerton College for 7 years, and when I was hired, I took over the French Film Festival. I continued the tradition of the French Film Festival, which started in 11 years ago. And then when I came, we decided to expand it to the cultural hour. That's the hour before the showing of the films. So that's what you just saw today with the sponsors, and then the music put on by the students, the singing, the instruments, and sometimes there's some dancing. So that was kind of the thing that I added, and that's a lot of community building that I did, going out into the community of downtown Fullerton, having the businesses come, or French restaurants, French bakeries, bringing them in. And yes, it's been great being back. You were asked about what was the experience coming back. We were kind of worried if people were going to come, but we feel that there was a good showing. People came, people seemed to have a good time. They seemed to be happy to be back in person, enjoying that kind of exchange, talking to people and just kind of being there. So.
And let me just compliment you. This event was so excellent. And I really enjoyed being back there. I'm not even in French. But while I was a student here, I constantly heard from Kennedy and so many other people, because I was also a tutor, that French just remains to be one of the best classes even on Zoom. How did you manage to build that environment, both in person and in Zoom, that keeps people coming back to, just French?
I think what I like to do when I teach a language is just to have people communicate, for people to talk to each other, to get to know each other. And I think that's how friendships develop. People get to know each other, become friends. They actually become friends for years, which is really fun. And I think that's kind of the key, is for people to feel comfortable and to kind of use the language more as a vehicle than an end in itself. So it's like you're using the language to discuss ideas, to get to know each other, to exchange with one another. So I think and then on Zoom, same thing. I mean, it's harder. It's definitely harder, much harder.
So how long did it take for you to kind of plan this event, When did you start?
It takes a year. So basically, as soon as we're done, I'm going to start watching the movies for the next year. That's the first step, is watching the movies, picking the movies for the next year.
Wow.
So that starts right away. Although one of the things we do, we get the movies, a lot of inspiration by going to the French Film Festival in Los Angeles, which is called Colcoa. And we went there in October, and one of the movies actually we saw at Colcoa. So there we got a lot of ideas. Last time I saw 11 movies with my husband.
Oh, wow.
And then we try to pick the best ones. And then then we show them. So they're kind of like our mentors.
Mm-hmm. And why is it so important to have an event like this within the Fullerton community for the Fullerton College students,
I think people don't talk to each other enough. They don't interact enough with one another. And also, I think a lot of people don't watch foreign movies, don't know that much about foreign cultures. They're just kind of like in their little worlds, and I think it's really important for people to open up. That's one of the things I do with my classes, is that I encourage students to go and teach English in France. And I have several students over there right now teaching English for a year, sometimes for 2 years. So it's kind of opportunities for growth, opportunities for expansion, opening your mind.
Right. And this is going to sound like a really stupid question, but why French? Why choose French out of all the other,
Oh, for students here?
Yeah, for students.
I think that's just personal preference, really, because I think all the languages are important, Of course, I love French because I'm from France, and I just think French culture has a lot to offer. A lot of people love they love the sound of it, and the culture is very rich. So, but I think any of the languages are good to learn, to be honest. I'm German too, so.
Awesome, yeah. So, and Madison's doing German. So
yes, exactly. So I think they're all important, just as many as possible.
Yeah. And any last things you want to add that I did not ask you about the festival or French in general here?
Well, I'm glad that we were able to have the festival again, that people came, even though everybody's worried about COVID. But I'm glad that they came and they showed their support, and I think that's how we're gonna get back to more of a real life.
Right, back to seeing people in person.
I mean, still being, of course, careful and aware of COVID. It's not like it's still there,
right.
but we can still live our lives and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
putting this together.
Yes.
Thanks for the
Thank
interview.
you.